Zelensky shifts tactics and style for Trump. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has become one of the most recognizable faces on the global stage. For much of the war with Russia, his olive green t-shirts and rugged military jackets became as symbolic as his words, projecting defiance, resilience, and an unshakable connection to soldiers on the front lines. But now, as former U.S. President Donald Trump reemerges on the political scene with the possibility of returning to the White House, Zelensky appears to be making a subtle but significant shift, not only in strategy, but also in style. This isn't just about fashion. It's about diplomacy, power, and survival. The power of the olive green. For 2 years, Zelensky's wardrobe was more than a uniform, it was a message. Every appearance in military fatigues reinforced the idea that Ukraine's president was not a distant politician, but a leader living through the same war as his citizens. When he visited Washington, Brussels, or London in those khaki sweatshirts, he was telling lawmakers, Ukraine is still fighting, and so am I. It worked. Billions in aid flowed from Western capitals, partly because Zelensky mastered the art of blending politics with symbolism. But audiences change, and so do tactics. Reading the Trump factor, Donald Trump is not a typical Western leader. His approach to foreign policy, especially regarding Ukraine, has always been transactional. While President Biden emphasized alliances and moral obligations, Trump often reduced international conflicts to deals, leverage, and political optics. Zelensky understands this. To keep U.S. support alive under a possible Trump presidency, Ukraine's leader can't rely solely on the wartime aesthetic that impressed European parliaments. Instead, he has begun recalibrating both his tone and his image, emphasizing diplomacy, negotiation, and yes, even adopting a more conventional statesman look when the occasion demands. A tactical wardrobe shift. Recently, Zelensky has appeared more frequently in suits, crisp white shirts, and ties, far from the battle-hardened fatigues that became his trademark. The change hasn't gone unnoticed. Analysts suggest it's no coincidence that this shift comes as Trump campaigns on an America First platform that questions the flow of aid to Kyiv. For Zelensky, dressing the part of a world statesman could be his way of reminding Trump, and Trump's base, that Ukraine isn't just a foreign problem, but a serious geopolitical player whose stability affects U.S. interests. In other words, Zelensky may be signaling, I can be a partner, not just a beggar for aid. Beyond clothes, the strategy of survival. This isn't only about jackets and ties. Zelensky's rhetoric has also evolved. Where once his speeches leaned heavily on emotional appeals and wartime urgency, his latest statements have been more pragmatic, highlighting opportunities for future business, reconstruction, and partnerships that could benefit the U.S. directly. That shift sounds tailor-made for Trump, who measures international relations less by humanitarian values and more by financial and political advantage. By presenting Ukraine as a potential success story, an investment rather than a burden, Zelensky may be preparing the ground for negotiations with the Trump White House. The bigger picture. In politics, style and strategy are inseparable. Winston Churchill understood it with his iconic bowler hats and cigars. John F. Kennedy wielded charm and elegance as a diplomatic tool. And now, Zelensky appears to be reshaping his image once again, this time for an American audience that could determine his nation's survival. The question is, will it work? If Trump returns to office, Zelensky's calculated shift from olive drab warrior to suited statesman might prove essential in keeping Ukraine at the top of Washington's agenda. If not, critics may say he abandoned the uniform too soon. Either way, it's a reminder that in global politics, even the closed leaders can carry the weight of nations. Thank you.